Hello, everyone. My name is Daksha Bhaskar, and I'd like to welcome you to my talk on over-the-top security, or OTT security. Over-the-top services is a rapidly growing space, with global OTT revenues forecasted at $333 billion by 2025. OTT services have already disrupted the music industry, the voice telephony industry, and changed the TV and media industries forever. OTT services extend into our everyday lives in terms of social networking platforms, productivity tools, technology services, and numerous other applications that we use on a daily basis without even thinking about them. This rapid growth in the OTT space can be attributed to the low barriers of entry into the OTT business and extremely low startup costs. This results in OTT players competing not only in terms of content, products, or services, but also in terms of user experience, price point, business model, and ultimately cybersecurity. For OTT, cybersecurity is not just a service differentiator. It is critical for revenue retention, profitability, and survival of the business. To illustrate, let's take a look at the common business model in the OTT space. Follow the information assets as I take you through them, and we'll talk about the various attacks they attract. The first is the ad-based business model. Customers get access to content or services for free in exchange for watching advertisements or providing their personal information to advertisers. This model has the most number of subscribers. So in terms of information assets, we have ads that make this model susceptible to ad fraud, and the most number of subscribers. With that comes hijacking of customer attention and their information, and so forth through the transaction-based business model and the subscription-based model, and I will share a lot more about this at the actual session. So when it comes to telcos and OTTs, the conversation around walled gardens and open architectures and platforms invariably comes up. A walled garden is a closed ecosystem in which the infrastructure, applications, and operations are closely controlled by the ecosystem operator. Telco environments have historically been considered walled garden environments, and walled gardens imply secure environments by virtue of isolation, by virtue of the ability to control what devices connect to the edge of the network. Then came over-the-top services, integrating various applications and services, touting open architectures with an any device, anywhere approach. However, I'd like to probe the two models a little closer. Telcos, while considered closed, have a history of partnerships, connecting with other operators through peering points, NNIs, and inter-exchange points, creating global networks and services. That sounds like a pretty open platform to me. Now, think of any two OTT applications in the same category. For instance, Skype and WhatsApp. A call that originates on a Skype application cannot terminate on a WhatsApp application. In order for the services to work, both parties need to explicitly sign up to the specific application or service and operate on the same platform. This sounds like a pretty closed walled garden ecosystem to me. While the concept of walled garden and open platforms as pertains to security posture of an OTT player is debatable, I would like to suggest that what is more pertinent is the layers of the network they each operate in. Essentially, both telcos and OTT services have the same fundamental building blocks. They have a network layer, which consists of the access and core network. There is a control layer, which includes the identity and access, as well as the management plane. And then there is the application layer. The telco's business is primarily in the network layer. The control plane and the management parameters are closely linked with the network layer. So while telcos do operate in the application layer, it is typically value-added services. Now on the OTT side, OTTs predominantly operate on the application layer. The control plane is closely tied to the application layer parameters, and the OTTs have no control or visibility into the network layer. This means the OTT cannot make decisions on network policies or analyze or manage IP flows. So when attacks occur, they are detected, managed, and deflected by the telco at the network layer, and similarly by the OTT player on the application layer. Essentially, the security posture has less to do with walled garden or open platforms and much more to do with what layer of the network the services operate in. This results in attacks and defense tactics that occur on different layers. In this talk, I will take you through the OTT services architecture and ecosystem to help us get a clear understanding of the framework and platform we are working with in terms of information assets and security postures. We will review the expanded attack surface of the OTT business, and I will take you through a range of critical topics. I will talk about security architectures, protocols, and transmission quirks in the OTT space. The role of DRMs. Enable security professionals to get perspective on proper implementations. I will talk about top targeted attacks in the media and technology sectors, such as credential stuffing and ad fraud, and I will provide guidance on dealing with these attacks and a host of other security considerations that will enable not just security professionals, but also consumers of OTT services, as well as OTT service providers themselves. I look forward to meeting you at my session, Over the Top Security, session code STR-R07, on Thursday, February 27th at 1:30 at RSA 2020 in San Francisco. Please register now to reserve your spot, and I'll see you there.